everybody? What is happening, everybody? Friday, March 20th, 2026. My name is Kevin Smith. Thank you so much for tuning into Loud Majority Live. We got a jam-packed show for you guys today. Democrats cause nearly 4-hour-long wait times. 4-hour-long wait times at almost every major airport in America. Meanwhile, you have Republican senators on TV right now talking about men and women's sports. Why jump on a popular topic, guys? Why talk about the moment of the day? No big deal. No big deal. It's incredibly frustrating. It's incredibly frustrating when the opportunity presents itself and elected Republicans can't get their head out of their asses long enough to figure out what all is going on. But we'll show you guys all of the scenes from all the major airports around America. Also, Harmy Dillon makes a big announcement about purging the voter rolls, which may be the only saving grace in this upcoming election. There's an upset alert going on in the state of California as Gavin Newsom loses nearly $27 billion in wealth. Overnight. Completely overnight. Zoran Mamdani decides to join in a open call to prayer in the middle of New York City as his crazy-ass wife deletes her ex account after siding with terrorists on a regular basis. And President Trump, I got to tell you, he might have produced what could only be described as the most awkward moment in American history yesterday. The most awkward moment I could possibly imagine. But before we get started, guys, do me a favor and hit that thumbs up button. Share the video out all over the place. Share it out. Rock, roll. Here we go. Let's get the live chat up on the screen. We've got some more breaking news at this moment. Which we'll get to later in the show. Little nugget. America is preparing ground troops to go into Iran. What could possibly go wrong with that? What could possibly go wrong? I could go all day on that. Must have missed that in the campaign pledge. Must have missed that. How's everyone doing today? You guys doing good? What did you guys think yesterday? What did you guys think yesterday of the girls from Chicago, of the Chicago Young Republicans? We had a little bit of fun yesterday. We had a little bit of fun yesterday with the kids from Chicago. I hope you guys all enjoyed that. What the hell happened? Oh, commercial. How's everybody doing? Carol, how are you? B-Hop, how are you? Sly, what's going on? Diane and Pat up there. Yeah, that was, we're going to play it just because it's so, you ever I got to tell you, when I was watching that clip, and we're going to play it to start off the show, when I was watching that clip of Trump with the Prime Minister of Japan, when I was watching that clip, it's kind of like when you're watching a movie with your parents and there's like a sex scene in it and you just want it to end immediately. That was kind of how I felt with that one as President Trump. I still can't believe he said it. Let's dive right on in. Before we do that, guys, head on over to loudmajorityusa.com. That's loudmajorityusa.com. Sign up for the newsletter. Check out our shop. That is the best way to support this show and everything we've got going on at the Loud Majority. We got 250 gear over there. Pick that up today so you'll be ready to go for your local barbecue, guys. Head on over to loudmajorityusa.com. Before we get into TSA and ground troops in Iran and that awkward moment with the Japanese Prime Minister, Chuck Norris died. What the hell? We're losing all the legends. All the legends are dying. Ozzy is dead. Chuck Norris is dead. Rosie O'Donnell still very much alive. Unfortunately, I'm just kidding. Sort of, but not really. Chuck Norris, man, the guy who helped Average Joe's Gym win the 2006 Dodgeball Championship. It's what he's best known for, as far as I'm concerned. So, yeah, Chuck Norris, man, that's a shame. Had to make sure I get that in there. So, before we get to things that annoy Kevin today, let's have ourselves a little bit of fun. Because yesterday, President Trump sat down with the Japanese Prime Minister. And he was asked a question by the Japanese Prime Minister about why they weren't notified first before they went and struck Iran. Now, I would argue they don't really have to be notified unless they're planning on helping, which it seems like many of the major countries around the world have absolutely no intention of doing whatsoever. Can't imagine why. But then this happened. I got it. Like I said, it's like a sex scene with. Oh, great. Deborah Hornsfield is in the chat, the dumbest person that comments. Not at all airport. Yeah, you're right. The private ones you can walk into whenever you want. Idiots. Whatever. So, President Trump sat down with the Prime Minister of Japan yesterday. And, you know what? There's no really way to say it. I'll just put it up.
Too much. You know, when we go in, we went in very hard. And we didn't tell anybody about it because we wanted surprise. Who knows better about surprise than Japan? Okay? Why didn't you tell me about Pearl Harbor? Okay? Right? You know, he's asking me.
Oh, that got quiet real quick.
No, you believe in surprise, I think, much more so than us. And we had to surprise him, and we did.
Just so uncomfortable. You can feel it. You could feel the air get sucked out of the room. And this woman who
too much, you know.
You can see this lady, right? The Prime Minister here. She is just thinking, how the hell did I get into this room? One more time, just for the awkwardness.
Very hard, and we didn't tell anybody about it because we wanted surprise. Who knows better about surprise than Japan? Okay? Why didn't you tell me about Pearl Harbor?
That is the face of a woman who needs to get out of a room. Come on. Oh, man. That's funny. That's funny shit. Look. You got Pete Hegseth asking for $200 billion to fight a war that nobody asked for. You got ground troops going into Iran. We need a little bit of levity in this world. Stock market's down nearly 3% in the last couple of days. No big deal. No big deal. No big deal. There's a hit piece coming out about me in my local paper. No big deal. As long as I get to watch the Japanese Prime Minister beg to be taken out of a room, I'll live. One more time.
Too much. You know, when we go in, we went in very hard, and we didn't tell anybody about it because we wanted surprise. Who knows better about surprise than Japan? Okay? Why didn't you tell me about Pearl Harbor? Okay? Right?
Oh, man. I tell you what. I may not have voted for war or stock market that's down 6% over the course of the last 2 months, but I definitely voted for shit like that. That's some funny stuff. So let's start yelling at Democrats because, why the hell not? Before we do that, Mike Lindell.
I'm excited to announce that we're having our first ever mega sale on overstock clearance and brand new products. For example, save over 50% on this season's flannel sheets. Queen size only $59.98. Kings only $69.98. They sell out fast every year, so order now. Save 20% on our brand new My Crosses. They're designed in the likeness of the one I've worn every day for over 20 years. They come in men's and women's, and they're made right here in the USA. Get our 2025 six-piece My Towel sets for only $29.98. Our initial quantities are extremely low, so get them now before they go. And our best-selling standard My Pillows, just $14.98. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use this promo code to take advantage of our first ever mega sale. But wait, remember that $75 free shipping rule? Well, that ship is sailed because right now, every order ships absolutely free.
Guys, head on over to mypillow.com and use promo code LOUD. That's mypillow.com. Promo code LOUD for up to 80% off everything on the website. That's mypillow.com. Promo code LOUD. So, I hope none of you plan on traveling anytime soon. Thanks to the Democrat half-ass shutdown, we've got more than 400 TSA agents that have outright quit. Probably won't be replaced because it turns out people can't live without a paycheck. Luckily, Democratic members of the Senate and the House know nothing about this because they'll get paid one way or the other. But, you know, you might consider thinking about possibly flying out of, let's say, LaGuardia Airport in New York City today. You might consider it. You should probably consider something else. Remember, guys, they had to speed this video up because if they didn't, it would have taken 2 days. Now to the idiot, Deborah, whatever the hell your name is, in the chat, who is wrong about everything. Maybe it's just New York. Maybe it's just New York that it's like that. You know, it's New York. It's busy. Everybody wants to get the hell out of the cold. Spring break. It is what it is. Here's Atlanta.
Mondays, Fridays, and Saturday mornings are always busy here at Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport. And you look back here, you can see that 120-minute wait posted there, but that's not from this part of the line. That's from the up front part of it. We've already talked to the folks who are right there. They're probably going to miss their flight already. And we've been talking to folks in this line who are preparing themselves and got here early. I want to stop real quick, and I know I talked to you guys a little earlier. Nervous about making your flight? Yes or no at this point?
Yes.
What has this been like?
Hot and just annoying.
I heard the word stressful. What does this feel like standing in this line knowing that you may miss your flight?
Nerves. Like, I'm just nervous and scared, you know. We kind of want to get to where we're going, and it's like we're just waiting. Yeah. We've been stationary for the last 10 minutes, like, no movement.
Thank you guys for sharing. Kate, I wanted to stop real quick because this was the end of the line yesterday, and we knew it was really long. We're going to take that walk now and go this way and show you. The line stops here at the end of the atrium, and then we just keep going. Let's not forget yesterday, 38% of the workforce here called out. We're not sure what that will mean today. So you see this line that stretches on for that main checkpoint. This is not where the timer even starts for that 120 minutes. The timer for that starts way back on the other side there. So if you're standing in this part of the line, which snakes around this direction, this is more than 2 hours at this point. Now they're trying to surge in as many workers as they can to help out. But as you see, when we get back to the other part of the airport, They have stacked people all the way around, and this is where it connects to the pre-check line. So you understand the pain point here for so many folks who will miss their flights, and depending on what airlines they are dealing with, some folks will be able to get rebooked. Others will have to kind of figure out if they're going to fly a different day. This is just the beginning of that rush hour. Now that it's slammed like this, it could extend a lot longer.
But look, hey, to that crazy lady Deborah who in my chat decided to say it's not at most airports. You know what? I'll play a little game here because I actually don't like this woman. She lives in my comment section. Not at most airports. You're right, not at most. I just showed you LaGuardia, and I showed you Atlanta. Now let's head on down to Texas. Not at most airports. This is your average Democrat right here. Right there. This lady.
This is all the TSA line. The line where you get your ID and boarding pass checked is all the way up there. It comes around here, all the way around, all the way around, all the way around. It snakes through here, but then you have to take the escalator over there down to the baggage claim downstairs, and that's how you end up down here. Right now, according to that board, it says that the wait is 150 minutes. Not sure if that's accurate.
Now look, I'm just a silly goose here, and nobody listens to Kevin. But, what if, like, what if we did something crazy? Something wild? What if, like, a senator or a member of Congress got off their fat asses and went down to an airport and, like, filmed some content of them showing the lines that Democrats are causing for no reason and take advantage of it? No. Why would they do that? Why would they do that? What a crazy idea, Kevin. What a wild one. You rascal, you. Why would they do that? Why would the major talking point for Republicans right now not be that? Why would we talk? No, instead, we're going to yammer on about nothing. About absolutely nothing. And then what's going to happen is Republicans are going to come back at the end of November and they're going to go, why do we lose? I don't know. I can't figure it out. Why do we lose? Maybe someone running for an office should pick up their fucking... And then I will explain to you what you could do to stop losing so badly. I can explain to you why you're in so much trouble. No. You guys would rather bitch and moan and lose. So much so that even a Delta pilot decided that he would... Do I have the clip pulled up? Boom. Let me see. Do I have it? Oh, here it is. Can I, let's see. Can I do this here? Yeah, check this out. Hey, John Thune. Here it is. Here's a Delta pilot telling everyone on the flight to call their congressman and or call their senator and do something about it. Hold on, real quick.
Every single day. Every single day.
Matter what your political persuasion is, but you should really call your senator. Because I'll tell you, this is costing the airlines millions of dollars. And just think of 30 airplanes with one engine running. And it's going to take us at least 90 minutes to take off. So it's frustrating. It's really frustrating for me. Because right now it's going to cost about 2 hours of our lives on the ground before we even take off. Spend all that gas, all that money, and it just rolls into the rest of this system. So right now we're at a 4% reduction in flight capacity. Next week we go to 10. Last night I had a 6-hour delay in Houston, and the weather was perfect. It's because the air traffic controllers aren't getting paid.
Hey, John Thune, Mike Johnson, why is this not your message every single day? I mean, what do I know? What do I know? You know, on some level, it's like you want to win the midterms. Obviously, you want to get Republicans elected. But then on some level, it's like, why? Why work your ass off to get people elected who don't do anything? I don't know. But remember, guys. Remember your average Democrat in my comment section here who said this isn't even happening. Sure, a Southwest Airlines pilot decided to come out of the cockpit and tell the entire plane to call their senator because all of this is happening. But your average Democrat right here, yeah, it's not happening. Sure, I showed you and you heard eyes and ears. Not happening. Not happening whatsoever. It's wild. The fact that every single member of Congress isn't making social media content right now showing that this is all happening, I kind of hope every one of you lose. On some level, I kind of hope you do. But hey, guys, don't worry, because James Comey's been subpoenaed. He's been subpoenaed to testify in the grand conspiracy against Russiagate. So here's what'll happen. He'll come in and he'll testify and he'll make shit up and then nothing will happen and then we'll move on again. Sometimes, I got to tell you, sometimes I'm actually jealous of people that don't pay attention to politics. Because they have a level of frustration that's got to be a lot lower than mine. Like, I'm sure there are a whole bunch of people out there right now, a whole bunch of people who have no idea why they're waiting so long in TSA. They have no idea why we're apparently sending ground troops into Iran. All they care about is the fact that ABC canceled The Bachelorette, which we're going to talk about in a second and in a much broader scheme about what it's like, about what this story represents about America in the world. Now, I want to be clear. I don't care about The Bachelorette. I really don't, especially this one, because she seems to be legitimately batshit crazy. But it really is a broader conversation here about what it's got to be like out there. What it's got to be out there. What it's got to be like out there dating in America in 2026. Before we get to that, here's Jeremy.
Hey, everybody. If you're not familiar with, then let me introduce to you Armor Colostrum. Now, I didn't know what colostrum was up until a few years ago. I'd never even really heard of it. And then my wife turned me on to Armor Colostrum. And what colostrum does is it helps regrow your hair. Not going to lie, that's the reason that I started looking into it. But then I started noticing some other things that I could benefit from. I used to get acid reflux very badly. I used to bloat very badly. It felt like I was 10 or 15 pounds heavier than I was until I made Armor Colostrum a part of my everyday schedule. And now things have changed so very much. Let me introduce to you what Armor Colostrum actually does and what it looks like. In a study measuring immune cell response to toxin, Armor Colostrum performed 32% stronger and faster than other colostrum companies. 400 plus bionutrients activated in your life, in your body, to help regrow hair, strengthen your gut health, regrow your nails, toenails, and fingernails healthy, get rid of fungus, stop bloating, and more. And now you can get yours right now for up to $18 off each and every purchase at tryarmra.com. Promo code LFATV. Click the apply button once you've entered the code and watch your discount fall off. That is tryarmra.com/LFATV. Order now.
Guys, head on over to tryarmor.com and use promo code LFATV. That's tryarmor.com and use promo code LFATV. This one's going to be fun, I got to tell you. I've never been so excited to talk about The Bachelor or The Bachelorette in my entire life. Mostly because I think that show is ridiculous. And I can't imagine why people who look that good seem to be sad that often. But we're going to talk about someone who I'd never heard of before this because I don't watch reality TV shows because I'm not a woman. But her name is Taylor Frankie Paul. Taylor Frankie Paul. Now, a few things here. Number one, you know, if you watch online social media content, sometimes you'll see people out on the street asking about what's your biggest red flag, what's your biggest green flag, what is it you look for, you do, what's your red flag? I'll tell you what a red flag is. A red flag is when you look, oh, do I have it here? When you look like this and still can't find a man, okay? When you look like this and still can't find a man, that is a giant red flag that you might in fact be batshit crazy. Well, it turns out, and I didn't know this, it turns out that this isn't the first reality show that this lunatic has been on. Now, many men will notice it's always in the eyes. You can always tell in the eyes. And if you can't tell in the eyes, sometimes you have to ask yourself, why are you on two different reality shows? Not really the point. Taylor Frankie Paul. Apparently, she was on some show about Mormon wives. Now, why that's the show? Someone who watches reality TV will have to explain that to me. Also, what someone is going to have to explain to me is how Disney, which owns ABC, that airs The Bachelorette, found this lunatic who apparently, single mom of 3 kids, no issue there, but cheated on her last husband after, or before, not really sure, after pleading guilty to aggravated assault. And ABC didn't know any of this, and apparently didn't know that this video existed of her throwing a chair at an ex-boyfriend and accidentally hitting one of her children with it.
This is called physical abuse. Yeah. Yeah. See, Taylor, this is all you do. It's the only thing you know how to do. Holy
I don't give a
Let me go. Stop. Dude, leave me alone. Oh my gosh. Your daughter is right here. Oh my gosh. Oh my. You are.
I thought only I could piss a woman off that much, but apparently someone else did too. Somehow, ABC didn't catch any of that, and they've now canceled the dumbest show on television. The dumbest. A show where 20 relatively successful, usually good-looking people have to be paired up on television to find true love with someone who has been convicted of aggravated assault. That's dating in 2026, where you get to choose, okay? You get to, if you're single in 2026 and you're successful and you're single, what you get to choose between is either an OnlyFans model or, you know, little of this.
This is called physical abuse. Yeah. Yeah. See, Taylor, this is all you do. It's the only thing you know how to do. Holy
I don't give a
Let me go. Stop. Dude, leave me alone.
I gotta say, I do like that little ninja kick that she threw out there. That was pretty good. I don't know. Disney has changed a little bit since I was a kid. I don't know about you guys. They should bring back the Mickey Mouse Club or something. Or whatever the hell they did when I was younger. Instead of, casting clinically insane. She's not even, I mean, she's hot, but she's not even that hot. Like, not hot enough to throw a stool at you. Luckily, that's on videotape because nobody would have ever believed it because, men in abusive relationships nobody really cares about, which, it's kind of part of the world. Nobody gives a shit. But, to be honest with you, that's actually, so let's see. On her second reality show, Crazy Eyes, 3 kids, cheated on her ex-husband, found guilty of aggravated assault. None of that is the worst part. Apparently, that guy that she hit with the stool, she called him 118 times in one night. 118 times in one night, according to some reports. Do I have the screenshot? Yeah, here it is. Check this out. Can I make this bigger? Oh, no, it's the shitty, crappy resolution. Let me pull up another image of it. Let me find another image of it. There's a screenshot of it. Called 118 times in a row without answering. Nobody noticed. I got to tell you, I don't really care about this show, but I'm doing everything I possibly can to not mention the fact that we're about to send ground troops into Iran before I lose my mind. Breaking. U.S. prosecutors are probing whether Colombian President Gustavo Petro is an international drug smuggler. Oh, that's good. So we're going to kidnap another Latino communist in the middle of the night. Great. Why stop there? Take Cuba too. Right. Nobody wants to listen. The midterms are going to go really well. The midterms are going to go great. They're going to go so great. Meanwhile, there actually are some ways that Republicans might not suck. There are some ways that Republicans might win. They may win. And it may be by accident. And it may be in California. There's going to be, you ready for this? I love this. Because of the ridiculous foreign policy that's going on right now, we're going to get smoked in the midterms. But because of California's own stupid election rules, they might get a Republican governor in California.
Now, Democrats facing the very real possibility of an historic upset in California as a new poll finds 2 Republican candidates leading in California's gubernatorial primary. Our next guest is at the top of that poll, says there's a revolution brewing in California. California gubernatorial candidate Steve Hilton joins me now. Steve, great to see you as always. You are our former colleague, so obviously we really like you. But how the heck are you, a conservative, leading the polls in such a liberal state like California?
Well, the answer to that question is a very simple 4-letter word. It's called MAGA, and it stands not for Make America Great Again, like the president would say, but the guy who's obviously on a presidential campaign right now across the country, Gavin Newsom. MAGA stands for Most Useless Governor in America, and that's Gavin Newsom, because California has the worst results of any state in America. We have the highest poverty rate, the highest unemployment rate, the highest cost of living, highest gas prices, highest cost for everything, insurance, housing, water, rent, you name it, car registration. Everything costs a fortune. You've got crime, you've got homelessness, the wildfire disaster. Everything's a disaster. And so people are saying, we've had enough. We've had enough of this. We need change in California. And I've been traveling the state putting out a strong, positive alternative. $3 gas, cut your electric bills in half, your first 100 grand tax-free, no more free healthcare for illegal immigrants, a home you can afford to buy. I capture it in one word: Cal-affordable. That's my campaign, and people are really getting behind it, and it's great to see the energy and momentum that we've got.
But, Steve, it's not just you. It's not just one Republican candidate at the top of the ticket. There's two, and admittedly, you are beating Chad Bianco 17-16 in this latest poll. But look at the two people behind you two. Eric Swalwell there at 13.
By the way, you think we might be able to get an updated photo of anyone in this race? Anyone? Eric Swalwell, that's like his high school yearbook picture. Steve Hilton, that's like his Fox News picture from 15 years ago. And Katie Porter, I mean, you can Google what she looks like now.
Katie Porter also at 13%. How much are these numbers also a rejection of all the candidates, namely Swalwell and Porter, that the Democrats are putting out there?
Yeah, and there's another one. If you look at the Real Clear Politics average right now, I'm not sure it takes into account that latest poll, but the numbers are going to be pretty much the same. You've got Katie Porter on 10, you've got Chad Bianco, and another one, Tom Steyer, the billionaire climate fanatic, on 11%, Swalwell on 13, and I'm on 15.5. So whichever way you look at it, the Democrats that they're putting forward, as the president might say, they're not sending their best. These people are exactly the same kind of far-left insanity and useless career politicians that we've had now, and everyone's fed up with it. Look at who you've got in charge in California, Karen Bass and Newsom and all these people. Does anyone think that Swalwell or Katie Porter or Tom Steyer is going to take us in a different direction? Of course not. And people really want a new direction. And that's why I think, despite, of course, people look at California and say, well, it's so hard for a Republican to win, a deep blue state and all the rest of it. That may have been true in the past, but this year it's going to change. There's another really big thing everyone across the country should understand. We've got voter ID on the ballot in November in California. I know we're all talking about the SAVE Act, but here in California, it's on the ballot in November. That's going to mean a really big Republican turnout, and that's another reason why I'm very confident that in November I'll be elected the new Republican governor of California.
I want to put this into context. Okay. Democrats. Well, actually, I'm going to start with someone else. Republicans are so bad at this, that if Steve Hilton is elected governor of California, that would mean that the last two Republican governors of California were foreigners. Anybody? Is that odd to anyone else? I'm not saying they're bad people. I love Arnold Schwarzenegger. I do. Love all of his movies. But is it odd to anybody else that the most populated state in New York, in America, New York, just elected a foreigner? Now California, our most populated state, is going to elect a foreigner. Anybody? Bueller? And it's not like they don't have anything to run on in California. Gavin Newsom just spent $115 million on a bridge to nothing. Not like his high-speed rail project that isn't going anywhere. No, not like that. Gavin Newsom just built an overpass over a 10-lane highway that is some kind of, I don't even know.
Look at this. This is a full-fledged habitat for everything from mountain lions to monarch butterflies. But you can also see the various habitats being designed here, from rock habitat to different slopes where animals large and small will not just travel over this, but actually live. What's left? Well, we're about to enter the final stage of construction. This structure is pretty much done, but we have to build the secondary structure over Agora Road so that the animals will not touch pavement at all. And what you're going to be seeing here is dirt fill be putting in, but also These utility lines you see have to be underground and relocated for us to finish. That's a part of the project a lot of people don't know about. That is a part that we are paying for as part of the project, which is to underground electrical transmission lines, which will make this area more fire resilient, along with other utilities such as the main water line to Calabasas, which we are also paying for an upgrade. There's some telecom, there's also a gas line. Once those are all underground and buried, we will then begin building the structure over Agora Road to connect it to the landscape right there. Again, reconnecting the Santa Monica Mountains to the rest of the world. It's amazing to watch this take shape. When we started stage 1 and we're waiting to start stage 2, the world changed beneath us though. This spring, construction costs increased considerably. And although we were holding reserves to finish construction, all those are exhausted at this point because of tariffs, inflation, and so many other factors impacting construction projects, not just ours.
You know what's a good way? You know what's a good way to not have to worry about tariffs and construction costs? Not build bridges to nothing. First off, how are the wildlife going to know that they have to walk across the new bridge? Are you going to put signs up that the mountain lions are going to read? What? I mean, we're just not a serious country at this point. We're just not. The world is laughing at us. We built the road for animals. Animals that don't know it's a road for them because they're, I don't know, what the hell, I don't even know what kind of animals California has. This is not serious. Oh, look, here we go. President Trump is taking questions outside of the White House. We'll throw it to that real quick. Maybe we can get an update on how many ground troops are going to Iran for no reason. Let's see here. Let me pull it back a little bit. There we go. There you go. Here's President Trump.
Is going to be speaking. Nima, if you want to hold on for just a few moments.
He's doing a fantastic job. So we have Marco. Go ahead, please.
Mr. President, I wanted to ask you, Iran executed 3 people this week.
Terrible.
You have vowed strong action in the past. What message would you send?
Well, we've been hitting them awfully hard. I mean, I don't know if you can possibly get hit harder, but these are thugs and animals and horrible people. But you can't hit anybody harder than we've hit them. But I'm not surprised. They executed 3 young people for protesting.
And do you plan to escort those ships through the Strait of Hormuz with or without allies?
We're doing very well there. We're doing very well overall. We don't use the strait. The United States, we don't need it. Europe needs it. Korea, Japan, China, a lot of other people. So they'll have to get involved a little bit on that one.
Do you still want South Korea support the United States?
Now, what about it?
Do you still want South Korea support?
Well, I love South Korea. We have a great relationship with South Korea. We're helping South Korea a lot.
Mr. President, do you think Israel will be ready to end the war when you're ready?
I think so, yeah.
Mr. President,
the relationship's a very good one. I think so. We want more or less similar things. You know what we want? We want victory, both of us, and that's what we've got.
Mr. President, how will the operation?
Well, I may have a plan or I may not, but how would I ever say that to a reporter? If I said that to a reporter, Marco would say, "Please, sir, let's bring you over to the helicopter immediately." Right? No, I can't tell you that. It's certainly a place that's people are talking about, but I can't say. Yeah.
Are you ruling out
How will the
there,
Operation Epic Fury affect talks with Russia on Ukraine?
What about it?
Are the talks on back burner right now because of
No, we're talking about it. I think it'll get done.
When do you expect the next round of talks to take place?
They take place almost every day. We're making a lot of progress.
The war with military
militarily won in Iran? What did you mean by that? You said the war was militarily won in Iran. What did you mean by that?
Oh, I think we've won. We've knocked out their Navy, their Air Force. We've knocked out their anti-aircraft. We've knocked out everything. We're roaming free. From a military standpoint, all they're doing is clogging up the strait. But from a military standpoint, they're finished.
So how much longer does the American people expect it?
You said opening the Strait of Hormuz is a simple military maneuver.
Very simple.
Yeah, but what did you mean by that?
It's a simple military maneuver. It's relatively safe, but you need a lot of help in the sense of you need ships, you need volume. And NATO could help us, but they so far haven't had the courage to do so. And others could help us, but, you know, we don't use it. You know, at a certain point, it'll open itself at a certain point. But we've defeated the enemy, and they are an enemy. They're a sick group of people. The leadership is gone, the Navy is gone, the Air Force is gone, the anti-aircraft equipment that they have, the radar they have is all gone. Everything's gone. The strait itself, the actual strait, how are you? The strait itself is, we're doing a good job, but it would be nice if the countries, including China, if the countries that use it, China uses it 90% of their energy. Japan is 95% of the energy. It would be nice if those countries would get involved.
Job still safe at CNI?
What?
Job still safe at CNI? And have you spoken to Netanyahu?
I thought she did a good job yesterday.
The American bases in Europe, Lindsey Graham has asked for you to reconsider the American bases in Spain, in Germany, after what they have done in the Strait of Hormuz. What's your take?
Well, it deserves. He's right about asking that, and I think NATO's gone down a long way because they haven't. I mean, they should be helping with the Strait. They get much of their energy from the Strait of Hormuz, and if Lindsey Graham said that, and don't forget, he was the big NATO guy for a while, and now he's not. And a lot of senators and congressmen, they're very upset with the fact that NATO has done nothing.
Pope Leo is calling for a ceasefire in the Middle East and to reopen dialogue. What do you say to Pope?
Well, look, we can have dialogue, but I don't want to do a ceasefire. You know, you don't do a ceasefire when you're literally obliterating the other side. They don't have a Navy. They don't have an Air Force. They don't have any equipment. They don't have any spotters. They don't have anti-aircraft. They don't have radar. And their leaders have all been killed at every level. We're not looking to do that. Thank you. Thank you.
Chuck Norris.
Oh, he did?
Chuck Norris, 86 building on the
I bet he was a great guy. Wow. That guy in the house where I'm moving a lot, he's like, corner third. Yeah, he was Chuck Norris. He was a great guy. He was a really good, tough cookie. We didn't want to fight him. He was a tough, great guy, and he was a great supporter. Wow. That's too bad. Now his family, highest respect.
Look at this.
Sorry
This
about
is
that.
a
Hold on.
full-fledged habitat.
Sorry about that. That was President Trump taking questions outside of the White House on his way, I guess on his way out of town. Looked like he was getting on Marine One. According to him, we've knocked out everything. We've knocked out their Air Force and their radar and their Navy, so I can't imagine why. Can't imagine why we'd have to have ground troops if we've done all of that. I guess we'll see. Who knows? But before we get started, before we keep going, guys, head on over to lfatv.us. That's lfatv.us. That is your home base, your mothership, your landing pad for all things LFA-TV related. Check out the LFA TV store. And while you guys are there, consider becoming a monthly donor over at LFA TV. That's the best way to keep the lights on over here, bringing you guys the news that you want. We got a couple more stories that we are going to get to before we wrap up today. One wild one is about somebody that I thought we had forgotten about. Cesar Chavez. You guys, if you're old enough, you'll remember Cesar Chavez. He founded the United Farm Workers Union in California. He was notorious for going into Mexico and beating the shit out of people who wouldn't join his ridiculous union. But it turns out Cesar Chavez, the man who coined the phrase, "Si se puede," yes, we can. I probably said that incorrectly, but I don't really care. Of course, the line was then taken by soon-to-be the next communist running America, Barack Obama. It turns out in his new biography, he's a rapist. Turns out he's a rapist. This from the BBC, so it's going to be coined in the softest possible language. Civil rights leader Cesar Chavez, that's not what he was, he's a union leader, who campaigned for the rights of farm workers in the 60s and 70s, has been accused of sexual abuse against women and children. Dolores Huerta, I guess that would be how you pronounce that, said that in the 1960s, Chavez, who founded the United Farm Workers Union, with her, once manipulated and pressured her into having sex on multiple occasions, in which he forced her to do so. The New York Times published an investigation on Wednesday detailing allegations from her and two other women who said that Chavez groomed them and sexually abused girls involved in the labor movement. Chavez's family said in a statement they were devastated by the reports and praised the women's courage on coming forward. Yeah, so you know it's true. It's good to know Democrats have spent the last 40, 50 years painting murals of this guy all over California and basically all over every farm country in every Democratic area in America. Chavez, who died in 93, rallied. Well, listen to this soft-ass language. Rallied California farm workers from the 1950s to push for movements in working conditions and led national boycotts and marches. His former founder, who is 95 now, said 2 encounters with Chavez resulted in pregnancies that she chose to keep secret, arranging for the children to be raised by other families. California Mayor Karen Bass and the City Council signed a proclamation on Wednesday renaming, are you ready for this? Renaming Cesar Chavez Day, a California holiday, to Farm Workers Day. Farm Workers Day in California, in Los Angeles. A lot of farms in L.A. I don't know. You know what? Maybe that's what they could do. They could take that ridiculous bridge to nowhere that Gavin Newsom is building, and they could rename it the Cesar Chavez Bridge, considering the bridge is just as useless as he is. All Democratic heroes always turn into con men. It's very odd how that happens. Very odd. But we'll see what happens. Maybe I'll spend the next 6 months complaining about what we could be doing in the election. Luckily, there is, we could talk about how Democratic civil rights icons are all genuinely bad people, like Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson and Cesar Chavez, and we could do that, or maybe Republicans could remove their head from their asses at some point. Luckily, there is one member of the administration choosing to do that, and that's Harmeet Dillon, who is choosing to spend her time purging the voter rolls all over the country. This is actually a great story.
She was put back on the rolls, and I verified with that clerk. Can you see if she's active or inactive? And she checked, and that deceased family member was marked active.
Okay, so she had a dead family member taken off the rolls 20 years after this person died and then put back on the rolls, meaning somebody was voting under the name of her dead family member, and she's the Speaker of the House in Michigan. So how big a problem, how widespread do you think this really is?
Well, first of all, I don't really need to quantify how widespread it is. The fact that it happens in even one case is enough for me to believe there's a law violation. And so, what's interesting is the left keeps moving the goalposts. So first they said this doesn't happen or it's extremely rare. Well, actually, the review so far this last year of approximately between 50 and 60 million voter records, which states have voluntarily uploaded or we've gotten from them, has shown hundreds of thousands, over 300,000 dead people on the voter rolls, and that's just a slice of the voter rolls. And we have referred tens of thousands of potential non-citizens who are on the voter rolls. And that's a lengthier process, Rob, because we don't want to accuse anybody wrongfully. And so we have to go through checking a number of different databases, sources, sometimes court records to determine whether this person became a citizen or not. And then finally, we reach a conclusion. And if that non-citizen voted in a federal election, we're referring those cases for federal prosecution. And there are some prosecutions like that are being worked up by my friends in the U.S. Attorney's Office.
And it's pretty wild. It's pretty wild. We've got some breaking news right now. The Senate has just, once again, failed to fund DHS and TSA as airport chaos continues. John Thune, you're useless. You are aggressively useless. It's 4 p.m. I need the weekend and a drink. So, guys, stay tuned for Hannah Falk. They're coming up next right here on this network. I'll catch you guys back live on Monday, hopefully with some better news. Until then, everybody, stay loud.